All right, welcome, Buddy Book Club. I'm Dylan, here with the man that does all sorts of mad stuff on the gargle. Keith, what's up, buddy?
Pardon me? What?
It's something that was said during. I think Mart said it when he was talking to Cal.
Do we read different books?
Cal, he was talking to Cal. He's like, I know you do all sorts of mad stuff on the gargle. I'm not going to do my Irish brogue. Here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing The Searcher by Tana French. It was a listener request or recommendation, whatever you want to say. 2020 Book of the Year by NPR. I think it was NPR.
Oh, really?
New York Times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or someone. Best book of 2020, New York Times, NPR, New York Post. I don't know if that means it was the best book, but hey, it says it on Goodreads, so that's what I'm going with. It was a nominee for Reader's Favorite Mystery and Thriller also in 2020. But like I said, we're at the Buddy Book Club. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us on any past episodes or recommend books, like we said, like we're just doing here, visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on X, Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify. Please download and subscribe. 5-star review, please, and thanks. 3.8 on Goodreads. Honestly, not a great Goodreads score. I trust Goodreads as much as I trust Rotten Tomatoes for the most part. I feel like usually we're in the fours. We've read 4 or 5s that we thought were zeros. So we'll talk about this one. I didn't prepare a book report. I don't know if you did.
I did.
Oh,
actually.
You did. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Love that. I'll give you the floor and step up to the front of class and please present.
Want to get away? Not just a Southwest slogan, but the slogan of Cal Hooper, a retired police officer from Chicago, who packs up his stuff and flies to a small rural town in Ireland. Cal Hooper, not to be confused with Jim Hooper from Stranger Things, wants a quiet life, but when... Oh, Hopper, shit. But wants a quiet life that is quickly interrupted when a strange 12-year-old stumbles onto his property and he discovers she has the ability to control things with her mind. Oh, wait, sorry, that's the wrong story. A strange 12-year-old stumbles onto his property and asks for help tracking down her lost brother. Cal leans into his investigative skills to start finding out answers, and while doing so, he starts unearthing all the town's secrets. But some secrets and bodies are better kept buried. Spoilers. Also, just so it's clear, Cal isn't doing anything weird with this 12-year-old in case you immediately jump to that conclusion like everyone else in the town did. Anyway, if you're looking for a well-written Western or noir, but set in Ireland, well, jump on board, Sonny Jim.
Yeah, not bad. I don't know if everyone in the town thought he was. I think he was just mostly scared that everyone
it was weird that it was like, everyone's going to think I'm banging this 12-year-old. I was like, wait, what? What's going on? I did not think that at all.
Well, I guess he's an out-of-towner or whatever the case, and she's she's like a latchkey kid or whatever the case is. So it's definitely has grooming potential.
A boy could do the same. So that's when he was like, it's a girl. Oh my God. I was like, so? Like, what's the difference?
Either way, you hanging out with a 12-year-old kid is not the least sketchy situation. Well, I'll give you, I liked the Stranger Things. You get minus an entire grade for not knowing the actual name of that character. So it's a C+.
Oh, okay. I thought it was better than C+,
It would have been
honestly.
a B+. It would have been a B+, but you went with Hooper and not Hopper.
Whatever. I can barely read, sir.
You listened to the audiobook. My first stock up, a good old Irish brogue stock up.
Yeah.
So we obviously both listened to the audiobook here. I'm sure the novel, reading it, was enjoyable, but it's just so much better, the audiobook version, I can only assume, because it's set in Ireland. You need that person has the Irish accent, and he does all the different accents for different people, different dialects, which is impressive. Like Mart was almost ununderstandable. He was so Irish. Yeah, it takes it to the next level. It's like chocolate syrup on vanilla ice cream. Vanilla ice cream on its own. No one wants that unless you're 12 or under and getting groomed by Cal. But if you put some chocolate syrup on it, everyone's like, yeah, I'm in for that. And that was this book with the Irish accent, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree, but I would use my analogy to be more caramel syrup and sprinkles, aka Jimmy's, and maybe some like Reese's Pieces on there if we're getting a little dangerous. A little whipped cream also. Yeah,
well, now you're just making a sundae,
Yeah, well, I mean, who says we're not making a sundae? I mean, what are we doing here?
Obviously, a sundae's better. But if you had the choice, caramel sauce or chocolate syrup or whatever, fudge, whatever you're going to call it, you're going caramel, no matter
the problem,
what.
I think with caramel is that it's very variable. Like I don't like the Scotch taste or butterscotch tasting caramel. I feel like some of them are that. So if it's the perfect caramel, yes, every time. That's what I would say.
I made a couple of jars of it recently. It's so dangerous just sitting in the fridge.
Caramel?
Yeah, caramel sauce.
You heard my theory that every diner should have it on the side, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to start putting it on the side and just have it ready to go anytime.
It is a great idea. It is a great idea.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, at the same time, it's legitimately sugar and heavy cream. Like
it's like so it's perfect. Yeah.
It's a heart attack.
Yeah, of course.
I've been starting to look because we get ice cream. We're big ice cream people, but the wife has been eating ice cream, and I eat ice cream legitimately every night. And so now I'm looking at the calories and the serving size. Big mistake. All serving sizes are 2/3 of a cup, and if it's real ice cream, not that fake Breyer stuff, a serving size is like 230 calories for any kind of good ice cream. And it's 2/3 of a cup, so you're having double that for sure. So every night I'm consuming like 500 calories of ice cream, which is wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, you just cancel that out. That's like, hey, I walked up the steps today. That's 500 right there. Canceled. You're good. Canceled. You're fine. Yeah, that's completely fine.
Either way, we're talking about the search here. What did you have for stock up?
Stock up saying in this economy?
Oh.
I mean, it's not great out there. Inflation's is going up. Gas is to the moon right now. Outside of listening to the Buddy Book Club, which is an amazing free content, hint, hint, it's tough out there. And that's why in this book, there are some questionable decisions. First, we got Mart, your boy, coming over every day, stealing cookies, talking his ear off. Like, hey, bud, if you're going to come over here and take the cookies, you need to bring something. Your conversation skills aren't what's keeping me like happy here. You know, bring over some of that whiskey, bring over some Guinnesses, give me something here. You can't just come over and eat my cookies.
Well, you let him take a drab from the local, whatever that guy was making, the local hooch.
Yeah, that's completely fine. That's kind of what we need. You scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Funny thing about my back.
Which is funny. I was just thinking, I had this before college. I got an SAT tutor because my parents obviously rightly thought I wasn't going to be able to get into college without having some sort of tutor. And he would come over and my mom would be like, oh, thanks so much. Here's like some cookies. And she'd lay out like, 12 cookies and like, Oreos and different things. And he'd be like, actually, I'll take some chocolate chips also. And he'd eat like 15 of these cookies in the one sitting. And I don't think I learned anything. The whole time I would just stare at him being like, how is this guy just demolishing cookies? And also if I went to a new place and didn't know anyone, I would eat one cookie as be polite, but I would be nervous to eat any more. He was just like talking with his mouth full, ripping cookies.
We're all jealous of those people though. Right? Like, because I'm the same way. I'd be like, one, I'm not eating a cookie, and if I have to use the bathroom, I'm holding it in. There's 0% chance I'm going to go in these people's bathroom. And other people will just like eat 12 cookies and take a massive shit and not care.
Yeah, those people are just
I'm so
wild,
jealous of them.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say about in this economy is we have Trey, who is, by all accounts, like very, very poor, not eating meals at all. She gets upset with Cal and starts egging his house. In this economy? Do you know how much a single egg in Ireland costs? Probably. I actually looked it up. It's not that expensive. But I assume it's like $1 an egg. And like, that's food. You know what I mean? Whatever happened to like Spitballs or toilet paper or something a little bit cheap? Actually, toilet paper is pretty expensive too. I mean, but either way.
She was probably just going into Farmer Maggot's crops and stealing the eggs.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's still sunk cost, or
it's still calories that you're tossing at someone's house.
Yeah, she could be eating those eggs. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, in this economy, questionable stock up.
Yeah, it's a good point. I do think that as far as the Mart cookie situation is, like, Cal has to get in people's good graces somehow. It's like you got to do something.
It's just weird to go in and just completely start devouring. I understand it from the host perspective to offer that, but to go in and just go ham is kind of crazy.
Or more just to expect it. Like, oh, Cal, you went to the market today, right? Where are my cookies, bitch?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, give me a break, guy. My next stock up, having a few too many with the pals and taking all your clothes off, stock up. Not a lot. Stock up. Not a lot to do in this town here, so they all just go down to the local watering hole, at least all the older gentlemen and ladies, and they go there and they get pissed and they just have a good time, and then that becomes their stories. Like, it's like, oh, let's talk about this guy Keith over here who got all naked and showed his penis to the neighbor down the street, and that's the story for the next 20 years, and you guys just talk about it. So whenever you go and get pissed, that just becomes the next story, and that's how they entertain themselves. So, I'm not necessarily down with that into my advanced age, but at the same time, we still talk about those times. And I guess there's something to just getting pissed with your friends and making a fool out of yourself, because that's what they're all looking for. They're just looking for you to make a fool out of yourself, and how are they going to then exploit that? So, yeah, respect.
Yeah, that's universal, right? I mean, when you get back together with your high school buddies and things like that, you're not actually going to talk about real things. You're going to be talking about the time in high school when, Johnny did something stupid, right? Like, it's not. So I think that's just a universal thing that's happening, right?
Yeah, I mean, we used to in college. If we stayed up till 3 or 4 in the morning, we'd say, "Hey, let's rage until Wilson's," which was a diner down the street, and we'd all keep drinking until 7 in the morning.
Oh, Jesus. 7 in the morning. Okay.
And, one time it wasn't me, but someone drew a Charlie Chaplin mustache on one of our friends who was fast asleep. And
Charlie Chaplin, that's who you're going with. Huh? Okay, yep.
And we get to the diner, and the diner owner, who's this Greek guy, was like, "Oh, you look like that Hitler guy," to a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What?" And he was shook for the rest of the day. He's like, "Guys, this guy thinks I'm Hitler," which is hilarious as you're looking at him with this Hitler mustache on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, and we still talk about it 20 years later. So there we are.
I like that Hitler guy. Yeah. Do you know who that is?
Exactly. You kept saying that Hitler guy. So you look like that Hitler guy. This is great. Great stuff.
Makes sense.
Holler Mac G. Good for you, buddy. Do you have any other stock ups?
A couple more names that start fights, stock up.
Okay.
We all know these names: Sport, Pal, Chief, sometimes Buddy in the wrong context.
Yeah.
But it's a stock up because we're adding to the list here. Sonny Jim added to the list. At first, I liked it when Mart was like, "Hey, Sonny Jim, let me sit you down here and tell you what's good." Uh-huh. But by the end of this book, Mart is just one more Sonny Jim. I was like, yo, if he says this one more fucking time, Cal's got to murder him. Like, I was getting so pissed anytime he said Sonny Jim. It's so condescending and so talking down to you. Like, "I'll tell you how it is, kid." I was getting so upset. So add that to the name of the list, because at first I liked it, but not anymore. And then the other thing I wanted to add in was just Cal saying "kid" to Trey. Mm-hmm. He might say "kid" more than I say "kid," which I say a lot. So I appreciated that. Yeah,
the kid, I felt like once it became clear, the big reveal that Trey was Teresa, I think the kid was a way for the author to generalize the thing. So she would also, Trey would never have a reason to correct Cal, right? It would never, if he was like, "Hey, son," then say,
right,
"No,
yeah.
I'm a girl." So I agree with you there, though. And Sonny Jim, Mart definitely towards the end was doing a lot of, let me explain to you how it is here kind of thing. And which ties in with my next stock up, which is manslaughter, stock up. So the guy's murder, Brendan Reddy, it was an accidental murder. And Brendan, to my understanding, Brendan threw the first punch, and then someone else knocked him out, and on his way to the ground, hit a propane tank back of his head, died immediately. That's still murder, right? That still checks out. Mm-hmm. And Mart's just kind of like, "All right, Cal, stay out of it. You don't get it. Shit happens when you party, and this is the way it is, Sonny Jim." It didn't seem like there was any remorse even necessarily from Mart, even as he's taking him up to see the body. He's like, "Oh, you really want to do this? Okay. Like, you want to get a drink afterwards?" It's like, we're about to uncover a dead body in a bog that someone has murdered. And you're just like, "Well, you shouldn't have brought the meth here." It was odd, let's just say.
And wasn't it like the whiskey they were drinking? That had a little meth in it, right? That sounded like that was different than whiskey.
Yeah,
so I don't know what they're...
Why are they yucking other people's yum? Like 2 drabs of this whiskey that they have, and you're seeing leprechauns, but yet Brendan Reddy's just trying to cook up a quick meth batch, and he's trying to, break bad, and it's the biggest problem you've ever seen. So...
Well, it was also just annoying because like Mart would be like, we can't have meth in here because it's gonna ruin the whole town. It's gonna do all this shit, and it's like, well, what about this Trey girl that like really needs a lot of help? He's like, fuck Trey, I don't give a shit about her. It's like, what? Like, you just said you want to like protect everyone, and it's like, so you're just doing it very self-righteous, but with no actual way to help anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't care for it.
Agreed.
Last one. Okay. Quick one. Guns stock up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
sure.
Obviously, the American, right when he got to Ireland, was like, I need a gun. Yep, that checks out. And it was all positives. There's no negatives for the guns, Like, Trey gets her confidence up by shooting Cal's gun. I mean, I wanted to get a gun after that. And
yeah, the way he's explaining that gun, I was like, yeah, I want that. It's like, this is what the cowboys used in the Wild West. I was like, I like Westerns. Like, yeah, I know the gun you're talking about. Like, I kind of had a BB gun like it. I want that.
Yeah, and she helped save Cal from a beating. So USA, guns up, stock up. So, yeah.
I agree. My last one was having a strained relationship with your daughter, stock up. Not something hold on. I'll tell you why the stock's up. Okay. Yeah. The stock is low. I get it. No one wants the strained relationship with their daughter, but Cal definitely has one. His whole family situation, not ideal. I think his wife left him, but they're not yet divorced, but she's with someone else. Is that the case? Or were they divorced?
I assume they're divorced.
I thought so too, but I felt like when I read it, that was not the case. Either way, they're not together. It doesn't seem like him and Donna are getting back together.
No.
And his daughter doesn't really seem that interested in her dad's life. He's always trying to call her, and she gives him work's been so busy right now, which is, unless you're someone that's legitimately like a doctor in a war zone or something like that, you have 5 minutes to call your dad, check in. Hey, how's it going, Dad? You doing good out there? Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's how my day was. See ya. Have a good night. Boom. That's it. That's all you got to do. So that thing was a problem. But because of his strained relationship, he needs that in his life. He needs that feeling of taking care of someone, especially a kid, maybe a second chance even, because there was that whole thing with his daughter where she was assaulted on the street and he went into like cop mode as opposed to just being in dad mode. And his whole thing was, well, I'll find the guy that did it and I'll, get justice for you or whatever the case is. And she just needed someone there to hold her hand and tell her it was going to be all right. So he tries for round 2 with Trey, and luckily, another stock up, I guess, misgendering. Luckily he misgenders her, because otherwise, if he knew from the jump, then he probably would have never let her, get that close. But and thanks to Trey for her Sinead O'Connor haircut, was able to keep him unknown to the situation. But yeah, so he was able to kind of recreate that relationship with Trey. Although the thing I didn't really understand is I was like, oh, okay, cool. So now he's going to do more of the dad thing, which he kind of did, I guess, at the end, but primarily he went back into cop mode when it was with Trey. She's like, oh, I need help with Brendan. And yes, he eventually like takes care of her, and I'm sure after the novel, if, I assume he sticks around and continues that relationship with her to help support her. But first he kind of just went back into cop mode until he eventually just fell into dad mode of it.
Well, one of my loves was I thought she was really, really good at writing male characters. And half the book, through the book, I looked up, I was like, wait, is this a woman that wrote this? This is kind of crazy, because she did a really good job kind of getting you in Cal's head and being like, oh, this is the way I think. And you're like, oh, I understand his perspective. It's definitely wrong, but I understand his perspective at least, which I think makes this kind of a good, I mentioned like a noir / Western where like each character kind of has their flaws, obviously.
Yeah, he's definitely a flawed hero.
And I understand what he was thinking. He's like, what I'm best at is going and tracking down this person, and that will allow my daughter to sleep at night knowing this person's off the street. They're not going to hurt another person. And so I understood what he was thinking. And I feel like eventually you think she would become mature enough or old enough to where she understands his perspective a little bit and not hold a grudge. I think he's wrong, but like at the same time, I think that it's at least you can step into his shoes and understand why he did it, right? Mm-hmm. I just thought it was really well written, especially. I
saw some reviews online that said they didn't like, and there was like a theme. A few of them said that they didn't like the way she wrote male characters, and I'm with you. Really? couldn't disagree more. I thought Cal was nuanced, and I thought it was just well done overall.
Yeah, I mean, he probably thought more than most men, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was, every night he'd have his beer on the back porch and look at the stars. And I was like, yeah, that part is...
Oh, there's stars up there? Yeah.
That part might be generic, but otherwise, he was a fully fledged character. So
yeah, no, I thought he was good. For sure.
What about Stock Downs? What do you got for Stock Down?
Stock Downs, soothing stories. So we just mentioned Cal. I think he's actually a really good salesperson. He would meet up with people while he was doing his investigation work, and he'd kind of read them really quickly and then say, all right, this is how they think. I'm going to now, change the angle of how I approach them in order to get the information I need. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really, really interesting way. It would work on me, but at the same time, I hate salespeople. So, but he was kind of meeting you where you stay or stand, right? Not just being the typical salesperson. That is until he kind of started doing storytelling. Trey gets beat up, and he comes to her house. She's all bruised, broken ribs, this and that. And who's the girl that he's kind of almost dating her a little bit there?
Not Noreen. It's Lena, right?
Yeah, and she's like, you got to stay here. So she's the only person that finally convinces. He doesn't learn from his own daughter, like you were mentioning. He kind of is would have done this exact same thing, but she's like, you got to stay and comfort her. And he's like, all right. So he goes in the room and he's trying to soothe her, and he's like, you know what? Your situation reminds me of this beaten dog we found on the street. I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, it was this decrepit, pathetic dog, beaten up, abused on the street. Yeah, we picked it up. It died 2 years later, but not from those wounds. Good night. I was like, wait, what? That's a story? What the hell? It's a soothing story. Stock down.
It was one of my loves, the way Cal changes his approach to interviewing people when it comes to the Brendan Reddy disappearance. And you said it so well, so I don't even need to restate it. But yeah, I just really liked how, depending on which person and their current situation, he met them there and then took a different interview tactic for them. So once again, in terms of the writing, I thought she captured what it would be like to be a police officer or detective and have that capability to be able to do that, because it was obviously super copy without necessarily giving out a ton of cop vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
My stock down is wokeness. Stock down.
Okay.
I'm more for Cal's take here, because Cal has real feelings on the subject, which it kind of came out of nowhere in the book. And it was a conversation between Cal and Trey where, Cal's more like Omar from The Wire, where he's pretty much like every man's got to have a code. And his take was that, as opposed to listening to people who tell you what's immoral and moral in the current climate, you should just follow your own compass to decide what's right and wrong. He's like, most people go out there and they just know what words you can and can't say, and they feel like they're defending those people because they're making sure that other people don't say those words. But it has nothing to do with actions. So he's like, he was telling a story where he said someone was defending disabled people or something. He said, oh no, you can't call them that. You call them something else. And he's like, but at no point has that person helped someone in a wheelchair,
right,
or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
It was a good point, although, you could argue back and forth about what the case is. And it also is like, okay, well, if you have to have a code, what if your code is just wrong? What if your code, because he was also said, if someone's an asshole to you, you can punch them in the face, but if they're in a burning car about to become a rotisserie, you got to pull them out of the car. Which, okay, that's Cal's code, but at least you know where he stands when it comes to his code. I do think that kind of rippled through the rest of the story with some other stuff we were talking about, especially when Mart kills, or Mart's buddy, whoever accidentally killed Brendan Reddy, and they don't care. Cal's code is like, no, something should happen to you. You know what I mean? You can't just get away with this scot-free. If they went and helped the Reddys or something like that, I'm sure Cal would have felt at least a little better. But continuing to ostracize the family and look down on them after you've murdered one of them is not to Cal's liking. I wonder if he and Mart ever patch their thing up, but he kind of says it's too far gone at this point, and that's probably the case.
Mart sucks. Yeah, I would never want to patch it up with him. That guy's the worst. And stop taking my cookies, bud. How about that? That's the first transgression. You know what I mean?
All right. So say you.
I agreed with a lot of what Cal said, but at the same time, there's also got to be some sort of it's not just that black and white for most of the stuff. And you can also change your code. Like, you know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, maybe I have to rethink things. You know what I mean? So that was the only thing I would say is if you start doing that, like, no, I have a code and no matter what, it's this. It's like, well, now you're really going to put yourself in a box where you can't get out of sometimes.
Do you have any other stock downs?
Last one, Big Twist stock down. I feel like we've had this as a stock down before, but I'm selling again. We've read too many of these books that rely on like really big twists at the end. And I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop because I think when I was reading this book, I was like, oh shit, there's going to be some really big twists coming here. But I think this book was a much different. It was more like a Western, like we mentioned, a noir, where it's more kind of just like a sad story more than it is like a. It almost kind of reminds me of a Cormac McCarthy. You didn't read The Road, but I did. I was just waiting for something in that story to happen, and it was just very sad the whole time. Or what I did think was going to happen was that Trey wasn't real. She was a figment of his imagination.
Oh, wow. You went Shutter Island on this thing.
Yeah, the whole time they're like, no one else sees her, and he keeps on hiding her from everyone. And I'm like, why is he doing this? It doesn't make any sense. Like, couldn't you just be like, oh yeah, the guy, and he thinks of the guy. But I guess that's the reason why they did it, so he wouldn't say the boy down the road.
Yeah.
But anyways, the boy down the road keeps coming to my house and I'm like showing him the ropes or whatever. Wouldn't you like tell someone that? Wouldn't it be weirder to not tell someone that, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make you seem creepier that you're like hiding something
Absolutely.
from people? So I also thought it was weird when he kicks her out of the house. He's like, you're just gonna steal something from me. He's trying to like let her down easy so that she doesn't show up anymore.
No, he's trying to let her down hard so that she doesn't come back. Yeah.
Well, couldn't you just tell her, hey, you can't come around here at night. You know, we can't be seen together like in private. It's fine if you want to come out and we'll work outside and we'll do all these things, but just perception, it's an issue. It's a real thing. Just talk to her one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't even know if
versus what she did. What he did with her.
Yes, but you can't say, we'll work outside. There's no one around.
Yeah, I guess so. Them hiding it is way worse than...
Yeah, hiding it is always worse, but no one's going to believe the truth. It's like, so you got this trailer park girl coming here to help refinish a desk for you? He's like, yeah, she helps me do odd jobs around the house. Oh, is she skilled in that? No, I'm schooling her. He's doing a nice thing, but people don't believe that. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Granted, if it was my daughter, I wouldn't let her do that shit either. You kidding me? No way.
That's true. No, I get it.
But yeah, he went full on burn every bridge. You come from a trash family and like you're gonna steal some stuff from me. So he went to like super hurt her feelings in hopes that would work, and not the best. But my next stock down is midlife crisis stock down. So obviously Cal's dealing with some shit, right? His wife left him, and he seemingly recently quit his career because of this Jeremiah Payton situation where he was on the beat with another cop and they ran down this guy and the other cop pulled his gun and almost shot this man or almost killed this man because he thought he was going for a gun and he had like a knife or whatever the case was, which still to me, I was like, well, he still had a knife, but I get it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wait, what? Was that bad?
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it was a baby in a carriage with a rattle,
Yeah.
But because of that, he says, like, what are we all doing? Are we actually helping? Or are we hurting? And he had a crisis of confidence and he didn't want to do his job anymore, didn't have the same luster he used to, has his wife. So what does he do? Midlife crisis. Does he buy a Ferrari or something like that? No. He moves to a tiny little shack in a tiny little town in Ireland, and this shack or the house, whatever the case is, needs a ton of work, and he's just going to lose himself in the work. Not the most ideal midlife crisis. I just think he could have done a little better. So just in the way of midlife crises, it's a stock down because, yeah, if you're going to go hookers and blow.
Yeah.
Do it like everyone else.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, also I didn't really get it because he has a nice pension coming. If he's been on the force for 20 years, you just sit on that. You don't need to go to a shack in the middle. Go to Dublin, get a nice apartment above a pub, and just go to the pub every night, listen to music. That seems like a way better. What are we doing going off to fucking middle of nowhere? You can do that. You can go to Wyoming if you want to do. Why did you need to go to Ireland? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you go to Ireland, you got to do the positive route. You can't go the completely negative way. I don't know.
He needed an entire ocean between him and his problems. What about favorite part or favorite storyline within it? I think there's not really storylines. It's kind of one storyline. I honestly thought when Trey shoots the guy that are getting him, like that whole them in the cabin scene, because at that point we don't really know, is it the Dublin guys who are coming after them? What is happening here? How's Cal gonna get out of this? Because he feels like he can just like talk his way. Or you thought he was gonna be like Hopper in Stranger Things and sacrifice his life or whatever the case is for Trey. You really didn't know. And I also thought there was some good moments in there with him and Trey, and he was doing his comforting thing while also then doing his cop thing. So I like that. And then I liked when he went to interrogate, torture that shitty guy. I don't remember what his name was, but when he goes into his house and is like slamming his fingers in his desk drawer and stuff like that. This is after the house stuff, but that's like I'm all business Cal.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that thoroughly as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with those. I think the one I was thinking of was, we already mentioned it a little bit, but was it Lydia? Is that her name?
Lena?
Yeah, checks him. I like that scene because I think that was the one time where Kyle's like, I go by this principle, I do this is how I act. And he was about to go back into his same cycle, and someone finally called him out on it. And it was like, no, fuck that. I'm not cleaning up your dirty work. He's like, but I'm a cop. She's like, I don't give a shit. Like, this is not my problem. This is your problem. You got to stay here and deal with it, which no one's told him. The problem too is his daughter and wife, unfortunately, just haven't told that to him to his face, so he still is never going to learn. Someone needs to like spell it out for him, and this woman finally does, which was
it seemed like his wife had, because anytime he talks to her, she's like, you're doing the same stupid shit all over again, Cal. Like, what is your problem? And he's like,
I thought his wife is kind of being unnecessarily mean. We don't get a ton of backstory, but he's like, hey, how's our daughter doing? Like, I just want to make sure she's okay. She's like,
call her.
Why don't you figure it out? You can't talk to her about your daughter.
Also,
like,
every time I call her, she says I don't have time to talk. So
right, exactly, yeah. So I felt I was like, why is she being so mean to him?
Yeah.
If he called and he's like, hey, I really want to figure out how we can get back together. What did I do wrong? I get that she's like, I've answered this 100 times. But he's actively asking about something in the present, a daughter you guys share together. It seems like you should maybe answer that question. I don't know, just me.
Yeah. What about your favorite character? There's not that many in this one. We got Cal, Trey Reddy, obviously, Noreen, Lena, Mart. I mean, there's a bunch of other random characters, but I figure yours is probably in there.
Yeah, I'll stick with Lena, but then also I'll throw in Trey, but angry Trey. I don't know. I thought it was just funny. The
Egg throwing Trey?
The first time she comes around, instead of the old ring the doorbell, shake the hand, it's get into a fist fight with the dude, sneak up on him. I don't know. I like that portion where she was, where I thought she was a figment of his imagination. So yeah, both those people.
Okay. I know you're gonna hate it, but I liked Mart.
Jesus Christ!
I liked
oh
Mart.
My God.
I didn't necessarily like Mart.
I said your boy as a joke too, and I was right.
I thought the character was well done because one, he's got all the sayings. He says crazy stuff all the time. When when Cal tells him that he has Trey Reddy over, Mart's dying laughing, being like, Trey Reddy's a girl, and having the time of his life at Cal's expense. He's definitely not a super nice guy, and he's a ball buster and a accessory to murder, but
accessory to murderer.
But outside of that, I had a good time.
He seems like a good dude.
Yeah. I'm just glad he was there.
I don't know. I didn't like him. I don't like a nosy Nelly coming by and, a guy that's talking down to you the whole time. I just didn't care for that. Didn't care for that at all. Even if he didn't murder anyone, I didn't care for either of those characteristics.
He did seem like a good guy when it came to his brother, who I guess he didn't know was gay and then left because of it. And then he tried to find him and he couldn't find him. Like, he did all the work to try to find his brother. And I think he really misses him. And that was kind of sad to me.
Yeah, he did a couple online searches. What do you give him credit for that? You serious? He's like, yeah, 20 years later, I did an online search and nothing pinged. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah. Didn't have a profile picture, so probably wasn't.
No, that's a perfect microcosm of him as a person. He's all this talk. Oh, I want to make the town better. Oh, ready? Yeah, fuck that chick. I don't care about her at all. I don't care about any of the poor people in this town. I don't care about any of the kids in this town, honestly. I'm not doing anything for the community. Cal moves in, and he's already helping out the youth here. Your boy's been standing there the whole time, hasn't done shit. And he's just all talk. So, yeah, I hate that kind of character.
Okay. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. What about love, hate, loves? I guess for loves, the murder mystery, I feel like you're feeling positively about it. That has to be a big thing with this book with fans because they call it a thriller. This definitely isn't a thriller. It was at no point was I thrilled. I wasn't necessarily looking for that, and I feel we've done that. We've been there. We've done that. They're rarely that interesting. There's red herrings everywhere. This was more, like you said, it was more just tragic. The whole thing with Brendan, it was just like a terrible tragedy that didn't need to happen. And he was a smart kid who was just trying to make his own way and get out of this town. And he made some dumb mistakes that teenage kids make, and it cost him his life, which was just shitty. And the whole time when you're reading it, you're kind of waiting for, there's going to be this big twist, which isn't necessarily what I was looking for, but I was almost the other way where I was like, how is she going to fuck up this story by putting in this twist that I don't need? And I personally thought it was a great ending for the way this story was, and kind of just like the setting itself. It's a sleepy town. We don't need epic murders or something like that. It's just a shitty thing that happened.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think if they went the twist route on this, I think it would have really taken away from it's kind of like a character study almost, in like a book that's more about other themes. So if you now make it a twist book, it kind of lessens those other things that were added into the book. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the questions were there too in terms of, there's all this stuff about the Dublin guys. It's that one idiot who is in town. Like, was he involved? Were any of his buddies involved? Like, there was enough there, but I didn't need a big payoff, Yeah. So I was fine with it. What about the slow burn of the book? It was definitely never caught fire at all, in terms of, there was never a roaring fire, even at the twist, so-called.
Yeah, this was it's not a beach read. This is a cozy up by the fire with a blanket read.
Yes, that's exactly what I had as well. I read some of this book or listened to it when we had a big storm here in Massachusetts, and we didn't have power for like 4 days. And so I'm like listening to this book in my living room, whatever the case is, and was like, you know what? Like, this is the perfect setting for this. This is a winter book where you're just, you don't need the epic twists and turns, and you're just there along for this cozy train ride kind of thing. So you were okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, and my hate, I said I had ending, obviously, was a bit unsatisfying. So I do think that, I mean, just as someone that is kind of tends to like more of the revenge story or like closure story, this didn't necessarily have that, I don't think. We kind of just have like Trey's like, all right, my brother's dead. Now you can't investigate or do anything after it because I figured it out. It's like, all right, I guess that's the end of the story. It is kind of depressing, right? So I think it was original. It's different vibes, and I think that's good once in a while. If I read 10 of these books, I would hate it. I wouldn't, it would definitely start to grind my gears a bit.
Yeah, it's a good point, and I think it also helps because we haven't read a book like this in a very long time.
Right, yeah.
And we've had more terrible thrillers on here than we've had probably any other book besides fantasy books. So I'm glad that we got something that was such a change of pace, and because of that, I think I liked it more because it was such a change of pace. What else do you love?
Oh, American is apple pie. They're serving apple pie at the diner, which I thought I was not ready for that. I didn't know that was a thing. So I like that.
Yeah, it's crazy to believe that in other countries they have apples and they make pies out of them.
You know the fucking saying, sir. How dare you? American is apple pie. I thought that was an American thing. I didn't think that was like a delicacy or maybe even served as a pie in other places. I could see like an apple turnover being somewhere else.
I think throwing a piece of cheddar on top of it is an American thing.
You just saw that from that one. Thank you for smoking. Get out of here.
I never seen that movie.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
All right,
is it good?
So I take it back. I liked it. It's about argument, which obviously I like argue. So
yeah. No, I haven't. I just know that in
it.
the Midwest, it's like, you have a piece of cheddar on your.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. No, that was the first time I ever saw that.
Yeah.
I've never had an American pie with cheese on it. So
I like. You don't even call it apple pie anymore. It's just
American pie. Yeah, you're right.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. And I already mentioned. I think it was Cormac McCarthy vibes. It turns out she is American, but she's lived in Ireland for a long time. So wondering how she was writing such a well-told American version as an Irish person, but I get that has the perspective of both because she's.
Yeah, I didn't look up besides that she had red hair, so I just assumed she was Irish, which is profiling for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't really have many hates. Maybe just this book maybe hit me at the right time. Not that it's a perfect book by any means, but maybe it just hit me at the right time where I was in need of something like this to slow down. We were kind of in a fantasy and thriller, and I use thriller with quotes. Mm-hmm. Situation, and I needed to read something different and feel good about it. We've done other books that I love that are not in there. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo we really loved, and I'm trying to think about the other one. Oh, the one with the kid on the drugs that we did fairly recently. I don't know. Colors of the Dark. That was kind of a thriller though.
That one was good. I didn't like really the other one we read right after that, the West Virginia one. That one was awful.
Yeah, that one.
Extraordinarily depressing.
Yeah, that one you didn't like, but I liked it. Either way, I was kind of in the need for it, so I didn't necessarily have any hates. Yeah, it was a bit slow, for sure. I think if you took this to the beach and you were reading it in front of the sun, you'd probably be putting it down every few pages at the beginning just to get a dip in the water. But yeah, eventually... once you get really involved with the characters, I think it makes up for itself. Cast the movie, I don't know, you could have Hopper for Cal Hooper, right?
Yeah, I did Jeremy Renner, who always plays the same role of dad that's kind of not there in the picture, but kind of a cop. Yeah, and then that's for Mart, I did Brendan Gleeson. Got to get us an Irish guy in there.
Yeah. Just get Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell back together, and this will be the sequel to Banshees of Inisherin. And perfect.
They have another one before that.
In Bruges, right? Yeah, it's a good book. I mean, excuse me, it's a good movie, not book.
I watched the movie. I think I did not know that was it's a weird theme. Like
super weird. Right? Super weird.
Yeah, I didn't understand it the whole time. I was like, wait, is this supposed to be funny or is it supposed to be what's going on?
Yeah, so it's definitely a weird movie, but it's one of those that you remember because it's weird and it wasn't bad. It was like, oh, someone really swung for it, which I appreciate as well. And it wasn't like swung for it and was terrible, like Battlefield Earth or something like that. All right, Keith, that was The Searcher. Thanks for whoever recommended it. Appreciate you. I'm glad we read it. What do you give it out of 5? And who's it for?
I give it 3.75 out of 5. I thought it was very, very solid. I think it's... I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Yeah,
this is something like I'd tell my mom about, and she'd be jazzed to read it. It was really good. I gave it 3.75 as well. So okay. we're in lockstep.
Yes.
It's for anyone who just wants a change of pace. Or says, you know what? I've been reading all these terrible thrillers, and I just want something that feels a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, okay, down to earth a little bit. Yeah,
read this then. But it is a cozy winter read for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is The Searcher. Keith, what do we got coming up next?
We got Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. I've seen this book and David Sedaris in particular referenced a bunch by comedians. So I was like, I want to read a funnier book. So I think both of us are done with it already. So yeah. It's a pretty quick one, but we'll get into that next. And
you weren't familiar with David Sedaris before this, like outside of references?
No, yeah. So I'm sure I've seen him on like a late night talk show, or I'm sure I've seen something he's written before, but yeah, I've never read one of his books.
Yeah, maybe Letterman or something back in the day. I'm sure you've probably seen his sister too, Amy Sedaris. She was like in Kids in the Hall and stuff like that. Back in the day.
I looked that up after, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, they were the same family. Like I said, I'm sure I've brushed on. Like the name was very familiar to me, so it wasn't like it was like brand new.
Yeah,
so.
Well, we're keeping it alive, going through some other genres or whatnot that we haven't done, which I appreciate before we get back into our thing. So yeah, we'll like you said, we both finish it, so we'll have that coming up pretty soon. We're just gonna do another episode.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting, and I'll catch you for Me Talk Pretty one day.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye now.